International and Winston Cup cars race here.
But is the Glen ready for trucks? Today, the best of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series take on the first of 3 new tracks in 15 days. 6 different Truck Series regulars have won this season. Might a hired gun come in and score a win at the Glen? You can bet it won't be easy. Truck guys may not know how to turn right, but they sure know their way to victory lane. It is one of the most famous road racing circuits in the world, but in its 40-year history, Watkins Glen International Raceway has never seen anything quite like this. The Parts America 150 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain along with Benny Parsons. The trucks are going road racing, and Parsons wouldn't miss it. You talk about enthusiasm. Flew in on the red eye, thus the shades, after a long night at Bristol.
Got in about 3 o'clock this morning, and yes, the shades are because of the red eyes, folks. You'll not see how red my eyes are, neither will you, Dave.
You didn't miss breakfast this morning, did you?
The buffet opened at 7 o'clock. I was right there when they opened the doors.
And he's here today, not only for a great truck race, but also an intense battle for this series championship.
I mean, it is right down to the wire. Mike Skinner, last year's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series leader. The champion is leading the series, but Hornaday only 6 behind. Sprague 53 behind. We see Resendez and Bliss look like they're out of it. But you have trouble at this race, Dave. It could determine who's going to win the 1996 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship.
All the races so far have been won by series regulars, but we now have these hired guns, the boys from Bristol. You had company on that red eye last night.
Jeff Bodine was on that thing, and he got up even earlier than I did. Joe Nemechek brought an entire crew up here for his truck, and also Ernie Irvin comes up to drive the 28 truck.
Nemechek is an incredible story, or his truck actually an incredible story. It sits on the pole thanks to the alternate qualifier. The modified star, Steve Park, jumped in the thing and put it in pole position. So now the decision, what's Nemechek going to do? Get the truck, go all the way to the back? Best way to find out who's in the truck is hear from the guy who's not. Let's go to Marty Reed, who will cover pit road today.
Well, the guy on my right was sent in to just qualify the truck. And Steve Park, you not only qualified, you stood everybody on their ear, putting it on the pole. Congratulations. But now you find yourself sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, we are. We're sitting on the sidelines, Marty. But, you know, I have to thank Joe Nemechek and his whole family for giving me the opportunity to run the truck and Bell South Mobility. And we just had an awesome day yesterday, something that comes once in a lifetime. And we're just absolutely thrilled to death to be here and root Joe on from the back today.
Well, I got to tell you something, guys. Keep an eye on him, because if you switch over to the Deuce at 3 o'clock Eastern time, you're going to see him on the pole again, because yesterday he won the modified pole as well. It was a great run. I know guys have been here for years and never even won a pole once. He did it twice in one day.
Steve Park made a lot of friends yesterday. Now we get down to today, race day, with a starting lineup that looks like this. Nemechek will go to the back, and Skinner will have the front row all to himself. A series champion out-qualified yesterday by the young modified star.
And back in row 2, we find Resendez in Jeff Bodine's QVC, the other truck, and Butch Miller, another Ford vehicle.
Joe Ruttman won a race here in 1975 in a stock car. He's having trouble getting that truck started. Beside him, Rob Rizzo was 2 years old at the time. He's just 22.
Then we find Rich Bickle and Nathan Budke. Budke been in that truck for about 3 or 4 races now.
Jimmy Hensley will be inside row 5. Outside, Ron Hornaday, longtime series point leader, had trouble in practice.
And then we find Brian Refner. He will be driving the 44 this week, not like the 28 last week. And John Nemechek, Joe's little brother.
Jack Sprague, third in the points, crashed hard in practice, rebuilt the truck, starts alongside the former motocrosser Ricky Johnson.
And row 8, Mike Bliss and Rick Corelli, both winners this year.
Pair of Dodges own row 9. Bob Keselowski on the inside. Walker Evans will carry one of our onboards.
Row 10, Lance Norick and Doug George.
The 2 qualifiers from this morning, Bodine a 1,000th of a second off the pole, and Ernie Irvin alongside. Watch those guys go to the front.
I'm telling you, T.J. Clark and Bill Sedgwick make up row 12.
13 has Kenny Allen and Jeff Sprague. Good story coming up out of the modified ranks.
Bobby Gerhardt and Mark Gibson in row 14.
And we got Monty Klein, another motocrosser, on the inside of row 15 with Bob Brevac. The veteran, Mike Hurlburt, is the provisional. Had trouble in qualifying. Truck caught on fire. Let's take a look at the onboard cameras here. Mike Bliss making a run at the leaders in the championship, and we'll run right along with him here today as his number 2 Ford truck will carry one of our onboards.
Walker Evans in the Dana Dodge truck. Good shot of Walker's. He's calmly getting ready for the start of this race.
Warm the tires, Get set to crank them up and go here. This is Brian Reffner's view of the field as he prepares for action. The 1995 ASA star giving us a good look out of the front of the 1-800-COLLECT truck.
Lance Norrick, the Mecklenburg onboard camera, 188 Pro Race.
Lance picked up a new sponsor this week. He's got some help from the Oklahoma Convention Bureau. Here's the way it shapes up. It's nearly a 2.5-mile course here. They'll run 61 laps, basically 150 miles. There will be 2 yellow flags, competition yellows, meaning that they will fuel the trucks and they can make chassis adjustment but no tires. We'll take the traditional halfway break at lap 31. And at the end of the day, pay off about $250,000, and that makes it pretty well worth being here, I would say, Benny.
I think they've changed the rule, and they're going to allow the teams to change 2 tires on those competition yellows.
Good point. They made that decision overnight, and so we're going to see a lot of pit activity here today. We're coming for the green flag. Skinner was a rocket in practice, then was out qualified. Let's see who's going to get to turn 1 first as Chris Morgan puts the green in the air.
And they both tried. They go through the corners side by side. Don't see that much down in turn 1.
Look at the dirt fly as the trucks traverse that 90-degree right-hander, but Resendiz had the preferred line, took the lead. Now Skinner knifes back underneath him up through the S's to take the lead.
And Joe Rutman in 3rd spot.
Heck of a crowd turning out here at Watkins Glen. Not the Winston Cup kind of a crowd in terms of numbers, and they didn't come in camp. They all came in this morning and had a heck of a traffic jam.
Skinner, the leader. That's to the inner loop. Off the backstretch at the Watkins Glen Speedway. This is the carousel, turn 9.
It's a tough corner. You're going downhill, and you want to hold the truck to the outside of the racetrack. If you cut it in there too early, you'll be in big trouble. There's Bodine already on the move. Qualified 1,000th of a second off the pole position with, what, 5 laps of practice maybe?
About that. And look at Resendiz. Take a look on the inside of Skinner. Never seen Hornaday going by Sprague. Sprague crashed that 24 Quaker State truck yesterday. Those guys did about a week's work in about 24 hours.
And that's 2 of the top 3 drivers in the point standings. Sprague's crash, he explained in one word: stupidity. We look out the back of Lance Norrick's truck. You got to admire that kind of honesty, Benny.
Lance Norrick telling you folks, visit Oklahoma City. Just like John Nemechek. Right behind Norrick.
That's Johnson, I think, behind him, using every bit of the road and a little bit of the rumble strips. That can get a little tricky here if you don't do it right.
Rick Johnson in the Red Dog truck. That's Roger Penske's truck. There comes Nemechek, and he's going to make a pass.
There is no substitute for horsepower.
I'm telling you.
It's fun to have one that goes fast when you put your right foot down. Here comes the battle for the lead running through. Then comes Rutman as they work their way through that McDonald's inner loop. You've seen the Winston Cup cars through here. This is the first time the trucks have traversed this particular piece of terrain. It's a fascinating racetrack and a track that Mike Skinner seems to have figured out on his first trip here. Resendiz has some previous experience here, and that's an interesting matchup.
It is showing. Look at Resendiz trying to drive on the outside. That will not work, and he found that out quickly. But I think he was trying to get his angle to get alongside Skinner on this straightaway. Trying to take the lead. Turn 1.
Got a bit of a run at him, and it's going to be a braking contest as they get to the corner. Resendiz has the inside. They roll him down, and Resendiz will take the lead. That was nice.
I don't know yet.
Did I get ahead of that?
I think you might have got ahead of yourself. Just somebody off in the dirt now.
That's the 27 turning around, and that is the youngster Rizzo, 22. Or check that. That's T.J. Clark who's done the twist there. And no, it is Rizzo. That's what I thought.
Rob Rizzo.
It's Rob Rizzo. He's 22 years old. He actually raced here once before. Look out, Rob. Don't get yourself T-boned. He raced here in 1994 at the age of 20 in a Trans Am race. It rained. He wound up 6th. The kid is a natural talent.
I told you got ahead of yourself because Skinner still has the lead.
He took it back going to the S's. If you got the inside in the right-handers, you're going to be on the outside in the left-handers, and that's what happened to Resendiz. How about Burt Miller? He's hanging on there real tight in 3rd. Doing a good job.
See, as they go through 1, he has the preferred line. I'm talking about Resendiz on the inside, the QVC truck. But Skinner comes back, goes down into And there we see Rizzo come into the screen, and he's lucky he didn't slide back across the racetrack. He stopped at a perfect spot.
A little too much brake getting into turn one, or maybe a little too late on the brakes into turn one. Got the youngster in trouble. Now the onboard view as Mike Bliss picks up a position. The number 80 all white is the Roush truck of Joe Ruttman. And Bliss, as you can see, is moving in on Jack Sprague.
That was the 44 of Refner that he just passed a moment ago from our onboard camera. We saw that.
And now you ride with Mike Bliss, the former USAC Silver Crown open wheel champion, as they work their way down the backstretch and head for the inner loop. Skinner leads it from Resendiz, Ruttman, Miller, and Bickle. 3 of 61 are done. We'll be right back. Craftsman trucks are putting on a heck of a show. Mike Skinner has led this thing most of the way with a challenge from Resendiz. But the big story in this race may be Resendiz's teammate. Here comes the third-place truck of Butch Miller, sneaking a look there behind. But meanwhile, Bodine has moved up to 10th.
Yeah, well, he is 10th spot. We went to break just a moment ago. Joe Ruttman was third place, and there he is back in 5th right now. I don't know exactly what happened to Ruttman. There we see Jeff Bodine, and he is on the move.
Qualified within 1,000th of the pole sitter, but it was a second-day qualifier because, of course, he was racing at Bristol last night. Looks like today might be a whole lot better than last night was for Jeff.
Yes, he had a little bit of altercation, a couple of altercations yesterday. Still 10th place on that rundown as the cars came by the start-finish line.
Saw a little wiggle on the entrance to turn one there from Ruttman, who is currently in 5th spot and chasing Hornaday, another truck on the move. Hornaday has come from 10th to run 4th. That's a pretty good move for the guy who led this series for most of the season and has recently surrendered the lead to Skinner.
Jeff Bodine, the black QVC truck behind Mike Bliss's. And he's Rick Johnson, the Red Dog truck, smoking.
He's been off the racetrack once, man. He qualified decently here. He was 14th at the start, but then went to the back after an off-course excursion, and now he's got it smoking, and I think it's going to be a short day.
Yeah, that does not look good. I don't think there's any oil coming out of the engine on the racetrack. I don't believe we're going to see a caution because of that. I just think he's going to see an early exit.
Longtime motocross great. In fact, Jeremy McGrath is breaking all of Ricky Johnson's records now. The obvious speculation would be, might he have hurt the truck when he took it off the road? He had so much enthusiasm coming in here because he's only getting 4 shots in the Penske truck this year. Hope to do well. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
There we see Bodine once again trying to get by Bliss. Closes them down in turn 1. Right on the tailgate.
Bliss has come from 15th, so both these guys are going the right direction here. Bliss up to 9th, chased by Bodine as the Fords do battle here, and they got company right ahead of them.
Yes, they do. A couple other positions right in front of them. I think it just continue on.
I should give a call to those guys. That would be Hensley running 8th and Sprague in 7th spot. Let me elaborate on what happened to Sprague. He cut the fastest lap in the last practice session yesterday, finished the lap, came down the front straightaway intending to just get up to the top of the racetrack and stay out of everybody's way. And as he described it, stupidity. Just lost concentration because he'd already slowed down a little bit, got up there, downshifted, wheel hopped, and stuck it straight in the fence. Johnson is in the pits, and let's go to Marty and find out what's going on down there.
Well, the guys aren't for sure, and they're going to look underneath. They think he may have hit something when he took it off course, and that's what they're going to look for. In fact, the pins are coming off the hood. There is smoke steaming everywhere, and this does not look encouraging. In fact, there's a little bit of flame underneath that's already extinguished itself. Looks like one of the oil lines at least has come loose, if not something more terminal. We'll keep you posted.
Meanwhile, on course, Butch Miller has had a problem. He had run as high as 3rd in the early going, but now he's begun to slip backward, and these two guys are in danger of breaking away. Skinner and Resendiz look like they want to make this a 2-man race.
And it certainly is right now, because as we look back, the next truck we see is Bob Revac, a lap truck. There comes Hornaday, but he's half the length of the front straightaway behind these two.
I'll tell you what, he's come a long way, though, in a lot of regards. He'll try to work his way around Breback through the inner loop. A tricky place to do that. Does it without incident. That truck was terrible in practice. He was 2 seconds off the pace of the fast trucks yesterday. They threw every part in the garage at it, and they got it a little better. Qualified at 10th, and I expect they've made a few more changes overnight because it's sure looking good right now.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think that changing the camber helped him more than anything else, talking to him this morning.
So that is third, pursued by fourth. Miller having lost the spot. Then comes Joe Ruttman in fifth. So that's a pretty good three-way battle right there. But here you'll see the interval behind the leaders as they work their way along the front straightaway. Let's go back to the pits for more on Rick Johnson.
Yeah, we're down here with Rick. He's climbed out of the truck. Good qualifying effort, and all of a sudden it went away. What happened?
Yeah, Marty, you know, I'm heartbroken for the Red Dog Penske South team. You know, we came up here without running that many races, and we ran strong in practice, and we qualified decent with the 14th, and so I just kind of bided my time, got into a little scuffle down in turn 1. I was just trying to make back up some time, and maybe I over-revved it or something, but we lost the cylinder, and so now I'm out of the race. I mean, this is the last way I wanted to be interviewed, but I guess better luck next time.
Well, the only good part is instead of you buying the Red Dog, it's our turn since you're first out. Thank you.
Got to give the guy credit. He was, there's was that Hensley that went straight through the inner loop. Now, there will be no penalty for that if he gets back in the position that he was running before he took the shortcut. Breback has done the same.
He does the same thing exactly.
He's a lap down, by the way, but Hensley, at the time of that incident, was well up inside the top 10, so it'll be important for him to get back in the position. If he doesn't do that, they'll impose a stop-and-go penalty, and late in the race, it'll be up to a 30-second penalty. Shortcuts are not allowed in truck racing.
Wow.
We got a glimpse of Nemechek there. He's trying to head to the front. We'll document his progress. He's up to 26th spot as Skinner continues to lead at the Glen. We'll be right back. Watkins Glen, you ride with Lance Norrick, who is headed for the pits here a bit early, and we would assume unscheduled. Let me correct a call we made as we went to the commercial break there regarding Joe Nemechek. He is actually up to 14th position. I think I called him 26th. Joe's making good progress here as Norrick's progress has stopped on pit road. Definitely not what we want to see one of our onboard trucks doing, onboard cameras doing. Yeah.
Not a good situation. Looking evidently the problem engine related. They're looking for something simple, but most of the time, about 95% of the time, it's not simple. It's major when they raise that hood. There's the leaders. Skinner still continues to lead the GM Goodwrench truck. And Resendiz in the QVC right behind. There comes third.
That gap has opened up. They're continuing to pull away. Hornaday is not making any inroads there. There's Miller running in the 4th spot. 3rd, 4th, and 5th continues to be perhaps the best position fight out there. Joe Ruttman in that 5th spot. Ruttman's picked up the tempo a little bit. He was struggling a little bit in practice. We'll take you on back through the field, let you find your favorite. Give Bickle a call. We haven't said much about him. Bodine, as we said, up to 8th position. Nemechek picking off another position, goes to 13th. That is Joe in 13th and his brother a couple of spots behind him. I questioned the decision by Joe Nemechek to take that truck off the pole and take it to the back. I thought maybe the driver's judgment had overridden that of the owner, but he's certainly making himself look pretty smart here, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and there's going to be competition yellows when they're able to close back up and gain back the advantage that Skinner and Resendiz have. So I think it looks like it was a good decision.
We are, in fact, approaching the first of those competition yellows. We're working 12, and the window is anywhere from 15 to 25. And the point is, the truck will need fuel before they get to halfway. The initial plan was to just make it a fuel stop. Now they are going to be allowed to change tires on the competition yellow. They cannot improve position in the pit. So it's essentially an opportunity to service the truck. It will bunch the field, but you can't gain track position in the pits, right?
That's exactly right. But it puts Jeff Bodine and Nemechek, that quarter of a mile or half mile that they've lost to the leaders trying to fight their way through traffic, all of a sudden it puts them 8 car lengths behind the leader. Then we'll be able to find out if, in fact, they have something for Skinner, Resendiz, and Butch Miller, Hornaday, Ruttman.
Which is the battle we're watching. Hornaday is third. Behind him comes Miller. And then in fifth spot, Joe Rutgers.
Oh, we got some more
Turn one.
it is turn one, and
A lot of dust, and when it clears, we may be able to tell you, well, not a sign of it. Hopped the fence, went into the crowd.
don't you hate those mysteries? I mean, somebody was off the course. Somebody was off course. Who was off course?
It will remain a mystery. There's the 11th place truck. That's Hensley, who has dropped back. We saw his bit of difficulty there before we went to the commercial break. Dropped him out of the top 10. He is now 11th with company. Refner is the black truck right behind him. And next in line should be Nemechek.
Yes, it is. Bell South truck, and there goes Rick Pirelli, Remax Automobile, the winner for ESPN Racing, Bristol, Tennessee. He was excited that night, wasn't he?
Oh, man, I tell you, there's nothing like winning the first one.
I'm telling you.
With the competition yellow approaching, the trucks continue to thread their way around the 2.5-mile circuit, and here is Nemechek. That's the first appearance for him, but it's certainly not the first appearance for that truck. They call that the War Horse. That's the truck that his brother raced all last season. Now little brother's got the new truck, and Joe has been headline story here with a lot of help from Steve Park.
Steve Park, the modified driver, helping Nemechek out. You have to put that truck on the pole.
A lot of people came here going, who's Steve Park? Because they're not followers of the modified tour, but by the end of the day, they certainly knew who Steve Park was. Look at Joe flick that thing through there. He's chasing Refner through the inner loop, using all the road and a little of the grass and the tiger's teeth, too, and looking pretty good in the process.
Listen as Refner accelerates, shifts to third gear.
This is the second of the straightaways. This is the short shoot, as it's known. And then the left-hander, a left-right complex that will dump him back out onto the front straightaway and perhaps give Nemechek a run at Refner for position. And that will be 12th.
He's looking. He's trying to accelerate. That he can't. Well, he's going to outbrake him.
He's going to outbrake him. Look at this. Nemechek, all courage on the binders, runs her in, and Refner says, hey, man, you could break her that way. You can have the spot. That was a nice move by Joe. I didn't know this guy was such a road racer.
I didn't either.
You know, he ran good up here in the Busch race in June. Sat on the outside pole and led a bunch of laps in that race. And now Nemechek is proving the wisdom of his decision. Get that modified guy out of my truck. I can pass the field and win this baby. We'll be right back. Weekend. Hope you'll be there. Yellow is out here at Watkins Glen. Chris Morgan has dropped the yellow on the field as expected. We're working lap 17, and this is going to be an opportunity for these trucks to refuel for the run to halfway. It is the first caution of what has been a relatively clean race. All in all, I think the truck drivers have done a pretty good job keeping those babies on the road.
They have done a terrific job, but they always, even when we go to Bristol or Martinsville, those first 100 laps or the first fifth of the race, they all do a nice, easy job. They're all very patient. But
this is sounding like a prediction to me, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
But then the patience wears thin. And pretty soon they take a chance and they dive in there. And pretty soon we got a crash.
Well, and fatigue, too. I mean, let's face it, this is a long race for these guys compared to the little 150 laps on a little bull ring is one thing, but 150 miles around this joint, that's a lot of shifts, a lot of braking points, a lot of opportunities to make mistakes.
11 turns around this racetrack.
They're working their way now at caution speed back to the inner loop and bound for pit road. We'll take a break and cover the action when we get there. We're at Watkins Glen for the Parts America 150. Watkins Glen, New York, in terms of the points and on the racetrack. And now on to pit road, where Marty Reed is standing by.
Well, guys, what they're going to do down here for Mike Skinner is change the left side rubber, and then they're going to send him back out with a full tank of fuel. But I'm looking down 2 pits to Butch Miller. They are changing the front. Both right and left, they're leaving the left rear alone. So from that standpoint, one of the things that we were talking about with the guys here is that this is the same compound the Winston Cup drivers used as far as the Goodyear Eagles are concerned. But because of the balance and of the weight distribution, that's why they're seeing some excessive wear. And this is going to be interesting, Benny. If it was you in this truck, which one would you change? Both fronts or the left side like Mike Skinner?
Well, the problem that they're having with the tires is they're wearing the inside of the front tires, because to make the trucks handle, they got to put so much negative camber in the trucks. They lean the top of the tire in so much they aren't getting all the rubber on the road, so they're wearing the inside. That's why Butch Miller chose to change the 2 fronts, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of trucks don't change 2 fronts.
It'll be interesting to see the payoff when they get back on the racetrack under green. This is the look from Refner's truck on pit road. As everybody comes in for the first of the competition yellows, there will be no position changes, and that means that the Skinner-Resendiz battle for the lead will resume when the green falls. The difference is they'll now have Hornaday, Miller, and Ruttman right on top of them. And here comes the 07 truck of Jeff Bodine, currently 8th, having come from 21st spot. Can't help but notice, Benny, as we come back to Watkins Glen 2 weeks after the Bud at the Glen, there are a lot of QVC T-shirts in the stands that look like they're about 2 weeks old and they've had one wash on them.
You know, I was thinking, I was walking through the garage here this morning, that's exactly my thought. I said, man, there's a lot of QVC T-shirts around.
Bodine told me one time, a long time ago, best way to improve T-shirt sales is win the race. Let's go back to Marty.
Well, let's show you the right front tire off of Butch Miller's Ford, because it looks like this was a real good decision for everybody. No blistering at this stage of the race. Remember, we're about 17 laps in, and you can see that everything on this tire is fine. Now the big question mark will be for those guys that didn't change the right front but did the left side, will their right fronts hold up till we get to the midway point?
Bear in mind, this is essentially a right-hand racetrack. The majority of the corners here are right-hand turns, so this is different from what these guys do week to week.
And the reason you say, okay, it's right-hand turn, the left front ought to take all the abuse. Wrong. Believe it or not,
Explain that to me.
They're wearing the right front because they're dragging the tire across the racetrack.
Okay.
And it's not gripping. They're kind of dragging the tire across the racetrack, and it's acting like sandpaper and rubbing the tread off the tire.
And I assume when you get to the left-handers, which are fast here, you got yourself a little bit of a handling problem.
Well, when you make the left-handers, it isn't too bad because the truck leans over and straightens the tire up. Okay. So you have some rubber.
So even though it's worn, it's still grabbing hold of the road.
Exactly.
While they're warming those tires back up, whichever ones they've changed, and preparing to go back to war. And the boys from Bristol include Benny Parsons here in the booth, and these two guys, Jeff Bodine, who's up to 8th, and Ernie Irvin, who has quietly come right along with him and is all of a sudden in 9th spot. He's giving that truck a good run.
How about that? We talked about Jeff Bodine and his trials trip, but they qualified 21st and 22nd, and now they are. Here they are, 8th and 9th.
Ernie took a little longer to get moving. He didn't really follow Jeff to the top 10. Jeff set a blazing pace. Ernie took his time and has ended up in the same place. So, you know, the bottom line is that the strategy seems to have paid off equally well. There is Nemechek, who's also been a fascinating story here as he's moved his way up to 11th spot. And I guess Steve Park's kind of over there shuffling and thinking, well, we could have led this thing for a while. But as you mentioned, Benny, there was an opportunity there. If Park went out and led this thing for a whole long time, and then Nemechek jumped in and couldn't maintain that pace, for the owner to make himself look bad, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think Joe Nemechek would have done as well, because I think, you know, I think that Steve Park's going to find that Winston Cup race car drivers, really and truly, trucks or Busch cars, whatever, they are about as good as you can find.
Well, it's one thing to win for a lap, and it's another thing to lead this baby for 150 miles. Park is a heck of a race car driver. We're going to see more of him.
And going to be very, very good.
Yeah, we're going to see a whole lot more of him later today, because at 3 o'clock on ESPN2, he's going to lead the field for the modified race. We're coming to green. Quickly to Marty.
Just a quick update, guys. I was incorrect on the Butch Miller tire change. It was the right front and the left rear. So there's another mix to the equation.
Right front and left rear.
Wow.
Interesting choice of change options there. The green is back in the air. Skinner this time leads the race to turn 1.
Wow. Was that? Yeah, I thought that was going to be. So that was Bliss.
Ernie,
I think it was Bliss and Ernie.
Haven't had any rain here for a long time. There's Bliss's onboard facing the wrong direction. The question is who went with him. It could have been Refner, who was behind Bliss on the restart. Now Mike is restarted, and he'll have to run him down.
Oh, man. But at least these trucks are fast enough that they'll be able to maintain and stay in the lead lap until the halfway. But I saw a blue truck driving to the inside down in turn 1 on the restart.
Boy, this is a scary hunk of racetrack. You got to be flat out through here. We'll get another look at this later. Right now, let's take another look at what happened.
Now that's Ernie. making contact with Bliss, and both of them go around. Ernie nails the gas and creates a lot of dust. And again, what a mystery it would be, though, if we hadn't seen that prior. Who would know who's in there?
The previous time, I think it was a truck that just got the wheels off in the dirt and kicked up the dust cloud. That time, the two trucks went into the dust cloud. Both have continued. Bliss and Ernie Irvin have seen their progress interrupted here. Bliss had qualified in 15th spot, Ernie in 22nd. And Hornet off the road.
And Hornaday's in second place.
The battle for the championship. That's a good move from Hornaday from 10th to 2nd.
And we saw Rich Bickle go by. There goes Hensley.
Bickle, by the way, headed the wrong way. He has lost positions here of late. Look at him run through the dirt. You don't want to do that all day long.
Walker Evans in the Dana truck.
Soldiering along in 16th.
Way over on the inside. There's on board with Walker Evans.
Now this is the section we were talking about. It's uphill, out of the right hand. Whoa, new leader. Hornaday has gotten around Skinner. They're through the inner loop, and we've got a new leader, Benny. How about it?
Man, oh man, they must have done something to Hornaday's truck. They must put a jet engine in there during that caution flag. I didn't think he had enough time to change engines. But Hornaday now off and running.
You commented on the fact that he was going to get that interval shrunk up. It's difficult to go through the traffic. Ooh, he's locked up the brakes. He's driving that thing hard.
Boy, is he driving hard. And Skinner off the track, and Resendez goes by. So what they did to Skinner's truck doesn't seem to be working as well now as it did before the pit stop.
How quickly the face of the race can change. We work lap 20. And the new leader, Hornaday, has a truck that is working very, very well. Having come from 10th, he got through the traffic. He was third at the break, but a straightaway behind. They throw the yellow. He catches the leader, then passes them both. Skinner, meanwhile, having dominated early, has now slipped back to third. Resendez sitting there in the middle in the rocking chair thinking, well, I got some fast company here, but I think I can whip both these guys. Let's go back to Marty.
Well, you guys were talking about Ron Hornaday. I saw him earlier in the day at practices. Man, we are still chasing it. I don't know if we're going to figure this out. And they weren't happy with qualifying. I just saw Doug Williams in the crew, and we're talking to him. I said, what'd you guys do? And they just pointed to their head and said, we were thinking and working. And I said, you're not going to tell me anything, are you? He said, you're right.
They're thinking and working. Hornaday's bouncing and flinging and doing everything you got to do to get that thing around in a hurry.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, almost all four tires off the ground as he goes through the inner loop.
He's making her fly, Hornaday is. He comes into this series with a bit of a reputation as a road racer. He claims he doesn't really know why, because he doesn't think he's all that hot dog road racer. But the fact is, he won a couple of Southwest Featherlight Tour races at Sears Point, won a Winston West race out there, won the truck race there last year. And in terms of road course action, he has led, coming into this race, 105 of the odd 180 laps that have been run so far. Hornaday, Skinner, and Rutland are the only three guys who have led laps on road courses, and Rutland's only led 2. So Hornaday and Skinner have been the two big guns. And right now, I think Hornaday is ready to take that point lead.
It looks that way. Just 6 points separating the 16 truck, the Napa truck of Hornaday, and the 3 Goodrich truck of Skinner.
And Skinner definitely losing a little ground to the lead duo. That's Resendez running second. We'll take a break and come back with more interesting battle at Watkins Glen. We're back at Watkins Glen, New York. It's the Parts America 150, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and there is the lead trio working their way through the right-handers and then up into the S's. Hornaday with fresh rubber on the left side, chased by Resendez and Skinner. And that battle seems to have stabilized for the moment, Benny.
And Mike Skinner also changed the left side. We saw that as he made his pit stop. But look, there comes Jeff Bodine taking over the 4th spot from Butch Miller. He has moved from 21st to 4th. Oh, and Butch Miller loops the baby around. Attaboy, Butch, hang on.
Tried to hang on to Bodine when Bodine went by and found he had a little too much speed on the entrance to the McDonald's inner loop. He will pay a penalty in terms of positions to all these guys who were going by. Butch will try to regroup, but Bodine remains the story as he moves up into 4th and will now try to run down his teammate.
Ever seen Bodine going in the corner? He sees a little bit wider, and really truly on road racing, that's what happened to Butch. He just got the right sides too much on the rumble strip and threw the truck sideways. You saw the right sides come up, too much weight on the left side, trying to turn, and around his truck went.
So for Butch Miller, it's a setback. He's had a couple, actually. He lost a couple positions early in the race when he got a little loose, not that loose. Now he has spun it and dropped out of the top 10 to 13th position. So Miller will learn a road racing lesson there and regroup and try to run down the group in front of him, which includes Rick Corelli, also Brian Reffner up there in that bunch, and Jimmy Hensley, a legendary road racer in his own right.
And back to the lead, and it's still a great battle. Hornaday, the blue 16, Napa truck, QBC. Black 7 is Resendez, and the black Goodrich Chevrolet of Skinner. That's the 1, 2, 3.
All of them race winners this year. Skinner with 5 victories. Hornaday with 2. Resendez won the opener at Homestead. Here's the first 3 as they continue to, I was going to say pull away, but I don't think that's accurate because I think this guy right here is in the process of running them down. He's the hometown hero from Chemung. That was Bodine. And here comes Ruttman. 1975. They ran a combination modified stock car race at this joint. Ruttman saw an ad for it in the paper. It paid big money. He said, I'm going to go. I asked him about it yesterday. He said, yeah, I came up here and won the thing. What happened there?
The 16 truck smoke going down in the corner.
That's what I thought I saw, too. Was it brakes, Benny?
I don't know if it was brakes or what. With some smoke from the 16.
We'll keep an eye on that one. Quickly to finish the Ruttman story, I asked him about it yesterday. I said, didn't you win a race here once? He said, yeah, it was 10 years ago. I said, Joe, it was 1975. He said, yeah, 10 years ago. When you get to be my age, they're 2 for 1. Ruttman has struggled a little bit this weekend with the handling. He said Skinner was getting him by a truck length off every right-hand corner, but now he's solidly in 5th spot and holding his own with Greenback, the lap truck in front of Hornaday. Let's keep an eye on that number 16 Earnhardt-owned machine and see if we see any more of that smoke evidence. I was about to comment that he seemed to have settled down a little bit. He wasn't throwing the truck around the place now.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that smoke was. Right now, there's no sign of, maybe it was just a brakes going down in turn 1, but there was definitely some smoke from that 16.
Resendez and Skinner have closed up the gap a little bit. Now we climb on board with the 10th place truck of Reffner and look back at Rick Corelli in 11th, and that should be Miller pursuing them. This is a position fight at the tail end of the top 10.
And Corelli right on that tailgate. That's the left-hander. Turn 10 now. The turn 11, the right-hander down to the front stretch to the start-finish line. Now, Rick, here's a good place to pass. Come on. 3rd gear, nail it. Now dive to the inside. That's it. Now when he hits the brakes, don't hit the brakes.
Yeah, just run her in there.
Run on in there.
Corelli says, easy for you to say, Parsons. They call Rick the High Plains Drifter. He is a high-speed drifter on this place. Meanwhile, looking out the other direction from the front of Reffner's truck, this is Hensley in the Dodge, the 9th place truck. Reffner's trying to run him down and at the same time keep an eye on Corelli in the mirrors.
I tell you, folks, you can see just how close they get to that retaining wall on the right side as they go through there. They drop that truck into 4th gear about there, probably 100 and I'm guessing 20 miles per hour, and you're about 2 feet from the retaining wall. The inner loop. Now this is a carousel, downhilder, hard right, turn 9. You can hear him playing with his throttle. Listen.
Keep it wide, then take the apex, and that way you don't run out of road on the exit.
Sound like
RPM. Now the left headed back to the front straight away. The action continuing with Hornaday leading at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen, we've seen a lot of QVC today. This is QVC squared because Resendez has been passed on the road by Skinner and has fallen back into 3rd spot and right into the clutches of his teammate Jeff Bodine.
And Jeff pulled over and said, okay, Mike, that's telling you, let me go by. And Resendez, being the nice employee that he is, said, boss, you go right ahead.
Give Bodine 3rd from 21st starting position. And Resendez net loss on the day is 1 position. He started 3rd, he ends up 4th.
Never seen Nick Check also started dead last and worked his way up to 5th spot.
That's a great run for Nemechek. For Bodine, the local boy from Chemung, the glory still there as the fans all gather and welcome him back. The newspaper called it the triumphant return. It was 2 weeks ago here at the Bud at the Glen that he foxed them all, Benny.
He did. He's stayed out on the caution flag, led the race, come in, changed 4 tires when he realized that Ricky Craven was slowing down on the racetrack. And he did bring out the caution flag. We saw the oil on the track. Jeff Bodine goes back on the track, does not have to stop again with fresh tires, passes Schrader and goes on and wins at his home track.
I'll tell you, he still had to race for it. It wasn't just a fuel deal. That pass on Schrader was exciting. The QVC team celebrating the victory. Welcome back to the top of the heap, Jeff Bodine. Now, can he do it again today?
Sure looks like it.
A long way in a hurry.
I'm telling you, sure looks like it. There he goes. It's Monty Klein, the blue truck, 05. He moves over and lets Bodine go by.
I think we cannot overemphasize the benefit, the value of road racing experience, and Bodine's got a lot of it here.
Yes.
The guys in front of him have much less, and that's going to work to his advantage.
You see Bob Keselowski, the 29 Winnebago Dodge, in front of their leader. He was off the course a moment ago.
Keselowski now on the very tail end of the lead lap as the leader Hornaday, showing no additional signs of that smoke, of which we got a glimpse earlier, continues to work his way toward the halfway mark, which will bring them back next time around to the caution flag for the traditional halfway break.
And Keselowski trying to stay in front of Hornaday, desperately trying to stay in front to save that 2.5 miles, simply drove down in the corner about 10 miles an hour faster than the truck would make it, and off the grass he goes.
Didn't want to give up that spot, and look what happened. Gave up the whole lap after all. Hornaday with the advantage over Skinner, measured in truck lengths, I would say now. Skinner has certainly closed it up a little bit, perhaps looking in his mirror and seeing Bodine coming. But intervals will all be erased momentarily as they bring them around for the mid-race service, the traditional 5-minute break that is the trademark of the Truck Series, and our opportunity to put Marty Reed to work down there and get him hustling. Hey, Hornaday's done a good job here today. From 10th starting spot to lead it. Skinner barely out-qualified yesterday for the pole by the young modified star Steve Park. After the first competition yellow, not able to get the edge back that he wanted on that truck. Slipped to third, got second back from Resendiz, but has been chasing Hornaday, and that's exactly what he does not want to do. There's the yellow from Chris Morgan. We are in the halfway break. Hearts of America 150 in Watkins Glen, New York.
Here's to see what's going to happen with Jeff Bodine and Joe Nemechek, 2 Winston Cup regulars that seem to have trucks that are very, very fast.
There was Joe in the blue and white moving by in 5th spot. Here come the rest of the field down. And remember, all these gaps are going to be erased. As we note that Rutgers slipped back to 4th, Bickle to 6th rather. Bickle is now 7th. Jack Sprague has quietly worked his way back into the top 10. He's in 8th spot.
And there we see the leaders following the pace car.
Going to get busy on pit road. They're all lined up behind the pace car. The crew waiting. We'll take a quick break and come back to check out the halftime action. It's a long lap under caution. The trucks have not yet made their way back to pit road, but they're fixing to. Hornaday is the leader. Skinner is second. Bodine is up to third. There's the entire rundown of the top 15, and notable for their progress are, of course, Bodine and his running mate there for a while, Ernie Irvin, but Ernie has since spun and is playing catch-up yet again. Butke, Norick, and Johnson dropped out, and let's note Nathan Butke's retirement here, mechanical problem, and that's a shame because he's been doing a good job in that truck. We noted Norick had a mechanical, and Johnson got off the road and apparently broke something during that excursion that knocked him out. Hurlbut also dropped out early after he had trouble yesterday in qualifying. Hello, folks.
Hi, folks. Great to see you. Beautiful day here in the Finger Lakes region of New York.
About as pretty a day as you could ever hope
Folks,
for.
sit down and pay attention. We got pit stops going to start right now. Sit down.
And that means Marty Reed is about to crank up those running shoes and go for the leader. Marty, it's all yours, buddy.
Oh, great. You're going to make us jump the wall on TV. So look out, guys, because here we come. We got trucks pulling in all around us. We got to watch ourselves, make sure we don't get hit. as we can make our way over. They're going to change all 4 tires on all the vehicles now. This is the mandatory tire change. Everybody does that routine. We're going to see if we can poke our head in here as Doug is talking right now to Ron Hornaday and telling him how good everything's running. Let me see if I can poke in here for a second. Ronnie, got time to talk to us? There we go. Hey, I don't know if I'm ever going to believe you. I don't know if I'm ever going to believe you again. You told me yesterday you could barely get this thing around the track. You had a horrible qualifying, and now you're leading.
Well, I'll tell you what, we were struggling pretty good because we qualified at 18 flat, and took the old phone call. We sat there and called Dale Earnhardt last night, and we put everything. To win this race, I'm going to dedicate this race to Sam Gonzalez. His mom passed away, and hopefully we can win this one for him.
All right, well, let's go back to Joe Nemechek. That's another one of the guys that's really doing well. Come on, guys, stay with me. We've only got to go 4 pits for this one, but we'll give it a little bit of jog because they're only going to give us 5 minutes today. Joe, where are you? Here you go. Hey, I got to tell you something here, Joe. Nice comeback from 31st, and here you are in the top 5.
Can I say, you know, the Bell South Mobility Burger King crews worked real hard, and this is my brother's truck. This is one of the first trucks we built, and his guy's been working on it hard, and you know, Steve Park did a great job qualifying it. But the car's awesome. I mean, I'm just out there cruising around, and we're going back to the front. Hopefully we can get up there and give Hornaday and Skinner a run here in a little bit.
You got to learn, this is a truck. This is not a car.
I guess I got to get fined like everybody else. I'm sorry.
Hey, are you as tired as Benny was? I mean, this morning in the car, he was taking narcolepsy attacks on me.
I tell you what, you know, the Bristol race last night just took so much out of us, and I think there's so many fumes and stuff as drivers we breathe inside the cars. And this morning, my eyes burnt, tired. You know, we got 2 hours of sleep last night, so this has been a full weekend for me.
Yeah, but he's pumping on adrenaline now. Guys, give me the full results and everything else that's going on. I'm going to go try and catch Mike Skinner.
A lot of fumes in the broadcast booth last night, by the way, too. A lot of hot air there, but Rusty Wallace was all you guys had to talk about, wasn't he?
Man, he was awesome last night. That Miller Ford was just awesome. Jeff Gordon, he said in his interview after the race, he felt like that on long runs, he was as good as Rusty and might be a little bit better, but he did not have that chance at the end of the race. Had a caution flag with just, I don't know, 40, 50 laps to go, and he was not able to catch Rusty Wallace. They're 6-2-10 as you see them.
Gordon and Labonte, of course, the point challengers, running 2nd and 5th. Earnhardt with a bad night way downfield, losing 2 positions in the standings. Meanwhile, Mike Skinner up and down the ladder here today. Let's hear from Marty.
Well, guys, we're trying to get the screen down so we can get a good shot of Mike. Tell you what, it looked like for a while there that 2-tire change set you back. Were you just pacing?
No, the 2-tire change was a bad deal. It hurt this truck real bad.
Well, now, what changes did you make as far as getting back to the front?
We're just going to try a little air pressure and do some stuff. And track position's real important here. And just going to take what we can and see if we can get this GM Goodrich Service Chevrolet truck back to the front, or at worst, not any worse than 4th or 5th.
Well, you've got one more competition yellow to worry about to get through. Will you just sort of feel everything out, and then it's going to be one of these mad dash sprints in the last 15 laps?
Well, Will's real good with tires. Maybe he can do something with the air pressure and, you know, help us out a little bit on that thing. It's just real bad for 2 or 3 laps after that, and then it seems to me like, you know, to run with them pretty good after that. But it's, I hadn't followed anybody around here. It's a little different following anybody. We've tried to stay pretty much by ourselves most of the week and last couple of days, and now we're following trucks. I'm having to get a different rhythm.
Yeah, show them the course map. You got a course map here. I mean, how can you not find your way around here?
That's in case I get lost. I can look over there and tell which way to go.
All right, guys, you can hear the motor starting to fire up. We're going to let him get back in line. We'll give it back to you.
Maybe he needs to call Earnhardt, too. You reckon Dale tell him the same thing he told Hornaday?
I doubt it very much.
Fans getting a nice breeze to keep them cool. Walker Evans has a couple nice fans working inside the cockpit of his Dodge, but then, of course, he's used to racing out there in the desert where it's 125 degrees. It is a very pleasant day here with a little breeze blowing. Jeff Fuller was the winner on Friday night at Bristol. We're going to see his brother Rick in modified action here later this afternoon, 3 o'clock on ESPN2. Will Hop Networks. Dale Jarrett was billed as a hero for not running Fuller off the racetrack on the last lap there. You buying that? I thought he tried as hard as he could to run him off the racetrack.
Something happened, he couldn't quite get to him, I would imagine.
It was a heck of a battle. Here's the pop for the modified show. Tell you what, these guys are used to running in circles 12 seconds a lap. They have come here with some interesting combinations of equipment. The modified division, the mod squad, running here at 3 o'clock Eastern time. for 41 laps that I guarantee will be every bit as wild as the truck race you're enjoying right now. The halftime break is all but over, and that means it's about time to send those trucks back out there, line them up, and get back at it for the second half, live on ESPN. For 5th in Richmond, the 21st in Martinsville, and the 28th in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Be sure and check all those out.
Also, we'll be at Sears Point Raceway on October the 5th. And we'll be covering the awards banquet from San Francisco.
Watching the boys pick up the checks. That's one of my favorite parts of the racing business.
Hi
Is
there.
she looking at you, Benny?
I don't know.
She's
Hi
looking
there.
to see if you still got your sunglasses on.
She's trying to check those eyes to see how red they are. She's got her Ernie Irvin shirt on.
Ernie's been a story here. He's in the 11th starting spot. It's a replay of what happened earlier to Mike Bliss.
And Ernie Irvin, because all the red dust, you say, looks like a North Carolina red clay, is Ernie Irvin trying to get his truck going out of the dirt.
Ernie was on the outside. Looked like Bliss came up on the inside of him. A little bit of contact, and around Ernie went, but he has rebounded nicely. As we said, he is in 11th spot, having qualified 22nd. Charging to the front has been very much the story of this Parts America 150 in Watkins Glen, New York. The leader, Hornaday, qualified in 10th spot. The third place truck, Bodine, has come from 21st. Nemechek came from dead last and is currently 5th. Did I miss anybody else notable there? Irvin, as we said, from 22nd to 11th. So pretty impressive.
Yes, the Winston Cup drivers are once again showing how important that experience can be. Jess Precker's first truck race, still in the lead lap in 19th between Sedgwick and Clark. And John Nemechek, the last truck on the lead lap. Joe's little brother, Martha Nemechek, she is just so delighted. Both of her boys racing in the same race.
She is such a delight anyway. The most enthusiastic supporter, I think, in the entire garage area. And really tickled to see the two boys out here doing well today. Now the Goodyear technicians consulting with the crew of the lead truck.
The modifieds were
anticipate probably what to do on that next caution.
Right after us.
Oh, okay.
So we feel like that may have been a problem that we're seeing.
You got a good tire. Just like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, like I told him in that meeting, I said, it's just a
Billy
safety.
Hodges is the Goodyear fella.
Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome.
You
Doug
don't
Williams.
often hear them say to the guys who provide the free tires, boy, these things are really terrible. I don't like them at all. They try to work hard together, obviously, to get the best possible combination. This is Bobby Gerhardt's truck, and it is apparently out of fire.
Now, what they're bringing an ambulance down for the truck for?
Well, I don't know. That's,
Need a wrecker.
That's a pretty
Hopefully they need a
situation.
wrecker.
I hope Bobby's all right.
You think maybe it just got hot in there?
Well, I wonder. They appear to be intending to tend to Bobby Gerhardt. Sure enough, the medical personnel are with him there. So we'll wait for a further report on what that is all about. Gerhardt just stopped the truck on the warm-up lap as they come back around to the green, and obviously radioed for help. So we'll see what's going on there.
Wow.
Pretty unusual set of circumstances. Gerhardt a lap down in 23rd spot. So we'll see what this is all about and get in a quick commercial break while we have the opportunity. We're heading for a restart of the Parts America 150. Stay with us. Watkins Glen, New York. We understand that Bobby Gerhardt is getting a little oxygen and apparently is going to be okay. A little bit of heat exhaustion there or something that they're going to hook on to. Well, now, wait a minute.
Well, you know, there we see him. He's going to take him and give him some oxygen. But, you know, on a day like this.
Towing the truck in. Truck's okay.
Yeah, the truck's okay. They're just going to tow it in, not try to drive it there. See
There's
Bobby.
He's doing fine.
I mean, folks, I don't know, but he looks to be okay. He's sitting up, looks like he's talking to the guy. But a day like this, it's very dry, no humidity in the air. And that always, as a driver, took that out of me. You know, just took everything out of me. And I felt a lot like that Bobby Gerhardt does several times in my career.
Huffing and puffing is the name of the game when you're working hard. Marty's got more on what's going on down there, Marty.
Yeah, we stopped down here at the pits. They did not get a chance to talk to him before he pulled over and disconnected, and they took him out of the car. But when he was here for the mid-time break, he was complaining about the fumes, and he was having a hard time catching his breath. So it might be that situation, combination of the heat. It's about 85 degrees and not a lot of circulation in the cockpit, and the fumes just inside the car or inside the truck just became a little too much for him.
mechanical malfunction can do that too. You get a crack or something that lets the exhaust up into the cockpit, and that gets nasty in a hurry.
Exactly, yeah. Broken exhaust could really, really be bad. Meanwhile, the trucks are circulating around this 2.45 mile Watkins Glen, 11 turns. Now, the inner loop, we're calling that 4 turns. If you're trying to lose track, folks, we're calling that 4
I'm not
turns.
going to get into this. I can't. I look at that course map and look at it. I can't find 11 turns, so we're not going to get into that.
Well, sometime I'll get in the rental car and I'll go around and we'll get out and we'll just stand in each one of them.
You can explain it to me.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you.
One thing I hate is when the race is over and you look at the tape and you say, doggone it, we didn't say near enough about Rich Bickle because he drove a heck of a race. He's in 7th spot. Or, you know what, we sure skipped over Jack Sprague because he was real reliable there running around in 8th spot.
And Doug George, we haven't even mentioned him yet in the ortho truck. There he goes. Mike Bliss. Now, we talked about him a little bit. Bill Cedric, that's Darrell Waltrip's diehard truck.
Running 18th, 15th spot position for Doug George, who, of course, has one of the Craftsman guest crew members with him for each race. That's all part of the promotion that they do for this series. So
I met him a little bit ago.
Be a fun way to spend the day. We're going to get another lap under yellow, so let's take one more quick break and show you all the green flag stuff when we come back. Time break extended a bit by Bobby Gerhardt's need for medical attention. Now we're ready for the restart of the Craftsman Truck Series. How about this? I assume that's our Benny that they're referring
Jeff
to.
Bodine and Ben. Well, that's probably some guy that lives around here. Number 1.
Benny Schwartz from over in Bath, New York.
Exactly.
Buddy of Jeff Bodine.
Home of Dutch Hogue, who's going to be the Grand Marshal today for the modified race.
How about Dutch? 600 career feature victories, 5-time winner of the Race of Champions, and he's going to flag off a heck of a field for that race at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. And warming up the tires and getting ready to get back at it. Now, these laps have not counted, so we will be working 32 when we come back around here and turn them loose to see if Benny's off-camera prediction here during the break that Bodine is the guy to watch will indeed bear out.
Hey, you know, you couldn't find your information. I found the information.
I appreciate you bailing me out here. All right, what's his name?
The celebrity crewman on the Doug George ortho truck today, I'll get it out in a minute, is Ray Melvin of Ithaca, New York, a local fella. And here we go. We're racing.
Hornaday with the jump. We're back under green, starting lap 33.
There goes Nemechek diving to the inside of, I guess that's Resendiz. Yes, it is.
He got Resendiz. He's up to 4th. Nemechek, a charger on the road circuit. Part qualified truck on the pole. Nemechek had to take it to the back. The driver changed it. All the way back to 4th and says, come on, Bodine. Let's go knock off these 2 guys up front and settle the twist. Up the hill through what are called the S's at Watkins Glen. You are absolutely flat out. From the cockpit, this looks like a little narrow canyon. A ribbon of Armco on both sides. Tricky hunk of racetrack.
Yeah, somebody's going to hit somebody in the rear end before this deal's over. Oh, man. Ain't nobody spun out yet. I'm amazed.
Picking up a little dust and a little dirt, but the trucks are through there cleanly so far.
I love it when they make me a liar.
These guys have done a great job today. I'll tell you what, not a lot of experience throughout this field in terms of road racing. On board with Ruffner, he is in 13th spot, and we got a position change. Bodine has knocked off Skinner and is into 3rd. Check that second
spot, and Nemechek is looking for that 3rd spot.
You think Skinner looked a little grumpy during the break? A look inside that cockpit right now would reveal a big frown.
Yes, he is.
Hornaday, meanwhile, real happy. He's opened up about a 4-5 truck length separation back in 2nd place. Bodine. Skinner will now try to fend off the number 87 of Nemechek, and Ruffner is
Ernie Irvin.
It was Irvin behind the wall. The teammates, Irvin and Ruffner, both with the 1-800-COLLECT numbers. That was the 28 disappearing. So Ernie, after a good run through the traffic into the top 10, then a spin, has retired.
And Skinner took a look on the inside. Looks like he's got that horsepower advantage down that backstretch, but it looks like the Bodine is able to get through the corners a little bit better.
Tight 3-truck battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bodine, Skinner, and Nemechek haven't had it big time. Resendiz trying to run them down from 5th. Jeff's using all of the road there, isn't he, Ben?
Man, I'm telling you, if they'd widen that road another foot, he'd be another foot out there because he was wanting to go out there, but unfortunately too much dirt.
A lot of people thought this would be another Skinner benefit, particularly those who watched him in practice. Here's Nemechek up the outside. Great pass.
That was a terrific pass by Nemechek to take over that third spot.
That's the one you can't make. All the books will say, no way you're going to go around a guy there on the outside.
But you got to remember, these are stock car drivers. They don't know you can't do it.
I'm not going to make the obvious joke about their ability to read the book. Nemechek has done a great job here, and it just keeps getting better. He's up to third. He's leaving Skinner behind. Mike Skinner not very happy, I suspect, with the way that truck is behaving. You heard his comments about the two-tire change under the first of the competition yellows. Apparently, with 4 fresh tires and the air pressure adjustments they made at halftime, it hasn't gotten a whole lot better. Hornaday.
Some heavy damage on 05 truck.
That would be the turn 1 entrance, I believe, where they bust up the styrofoam there.
That's Monty Klein.
Yeah, that's Monty, and he's in there hard, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Monty Klein, the former motocross racer from down in Florida, has brought out a full course yellow because it's going to take some work to get that baby out of the styrofoam.
Yes, he is. We see him moving around. Let's see what happens. He goes down in turn 1 and just simply gets in too hard. Gets it on the grass and cannot get it woed. And wow, it's pretty heavy contact.
Real good place for those styrofoam blocks.
Yes,
right
real good.
He's out okay. I was a little concerned when I didn't see that window net come down, but he's a newcomer to this. You don't have a window net on your motorcycle. Klein is okay. Let's go to pit road.
Yeah, we're down here with Ernie Urban. Ernie, big surprise. All of a sudden, here you are behind the wall.
Yeah, I think we broke a drive shaft or something. I'm pretty tough on this stuff, and that's why we're up here trying to figure out what we can do for Japan, and we don't want to go that far. But, you know, these guys did a great job building me this truck, and it's an older one, but it was running good.
What about the fatigue factor? What about these other guys that came up with you after running Bristol last night? Can they go the rest of this distance in this heat?
Yeah, they can. I mean, it's not bad outside. These trucks are just real hot, and our truck just wasn't insulated very good. So, but we worked on it some, and it wasn't going to be bad the last part.
Yeah, you want to talk about no insulation, guys? Take a look here. This is how he keeps his foot from burning off.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, his shoes match, that's for sure.
There's the hot number right now, Jeff Bodine. It's actually 07 in the truck. Here's Monty Klein strip into the wall in the Bad Boy Racing Chevrolet, and he bent that bad boy up big time. We'll be right back. First yellow at Watkins Glen, New York, with 35 of the 61 laps in the book. Ron Hornaday continuing to provide a road racing clinic here, but Jeff Bodine is proving to be a pretty good pupil as he runs in that second spot. Nemechek up to third, and then Skinner struggling a little bit. We'll take you back through the field and show you some more of your favorite drivers, and then jump on board with Mike Bliss here, who's got the glove off on the right-hand side and not wearing gloves at all today. He's had a little excursion off the racetrack, and I guess it's pretty remarkable that he's back up to 14th spot.
Yes, it is, and I'm surprised that being an open-wheel racer that he doesn't wear gloves.
Unusual indeed, but Bliss says, hey, I like that feel of the steering wheel. So that's now we're on board with Walker Evans here as these guys circulate under the yellow. Bill Sedgwick has come on pit road during this extension of the caution here while they clear the racetrack of the truck of Monty Klein, which took the spin. Bill Sedgwick, the new driver for Darrell Waltrip at the Sears Die Hard Chevy, and they're going all the way around to put new tires on that.
No, they can't put tires on it.
That's right.
They're making some adjustment on both sides of the rear. I can't imagine exactly what they're doing. Marty Reed, what are they doing down there?
Benny, they're putting rubbers in the left rear and the right rear.
Okay, making the rear of the truck stiffer, stiffening up the springs in the rear of the truck.
Sedgwick seizing the opportunity to do this under this long yellow. I'm going to seize the opportunity, Benny, as we talk about experience in the field. Recall that you were a heck of a road racer for a guy who came out of a taxi cab, jumped in a road racer. You were pretty good at this, weren't you?
I started at Riverside in 1970 running road courses, and I struggled for a good while. 6-7 years, I really couldn't get the hang of it. But finally, I followed David Pearson around Riverside one afternoon, and I found out some things I was doing wrong. And from then on, I ran road courses pretty doggone well. Won a race at Riverside, finished second several times. I only ran here 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure exactly how many times. Did not have any notable success at this racetrack. It is truly enjoyable. Road racing is, as a race car driver, this is as much fun as you can have. The rights, the left, the shifting, the braking, it is awesome.
We have a moment from your career, actually, that you may remember. It was at Riverside, and now you're sitting there thinking, oh, boy, they're going to show me when to race. Actually, you were part of a great moment in road racing history here when you took that baby down into turn 9 there, leading the way. And the guy behind you is Bill Elliott, who was already a big favorite of the fans and had never won a Winston Cup race. And this is the maneuver right here that I was curious about.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. I get up out of the groove. Elliott goes on, and watch this coming off turn 4. And I tell him about, look at Richmond hitting me. Watch Tim Richmond hit me. Bam, I come off. Ran right into him. But we did get back to the caution flag, and I finished second. But I always accused Richmond of hitting me, coming up and banging into me. That's why you got to be careful what you say. I watched that tape, and I realized that I was the hitter, not the hittee.
Well, of course, history will recall that you were nice enough to move out of the way and let Bill Elliott drive the family Ford right on to the very first victory of his Winston Cup career. You did good here. You did ranked 5th at the 1987.
I did.
Yeah, you remember that? Anyway, enough about what you've done. Let's talk about what these guys are going to do, because we're just about ready to put the green in the air and see if anybody's got anything for the leader, Ron Hornaday.
Skinner taking a look.
Nobody jumping out of line yet.
Everybody's trying to block back there. There's back in the back. They're jumping and diving on the inside. And we got a spin coming right here.
Benny, no, they made it through there again. Every time you predict that, nothing happens. Walker Evans managed to keep things on track.
Well, I just have to start predicting it every time. There we see Refner, the 1-800-COLLECT truck. That's the one that I thought was going to spin out down in turn 1 when he and Walker Evans made contact, but they made it through the corner just fine.
He's looking back at Walker there, so he got a pretty good drive off the corner, and in front of him is Jimmy Hensley.
There we see our leader, Ron Hornaday, the blue truck. That's Jeff Bodine, the black QVC. Nemechek, the blue and white, is 3rd spot.
The gap from 1st to 2nd impresses me. Every time they put that green back in the air, the jump belongs to Hornaday. I don't know that any of these guys got a whole lot for him, although Bodine has come through a lot of traffic to get into 2nd spot. But one guy he hadn't been able to handle yet is Hornaday.
I think that Hornaday runs really good for 4 or 5 laps. 4 or 5 laps when those tires are green. But as the tires start wearing, it looks like that's when Jeff Bodine and Nemechek start to shine. Oh, Bickle.
6th and 7th place battle here. Bickle, again, using up all the road. They put those rumble strips on the outside. You can get up there and drive on them, but there are risks inherent in that. Again, these two guys have had pretty good runs here today. Bickle is 6th, chased by Sprague in 7th. Sprague had difficulty in qualifying after hitting the wall in practice. Started 13th, has moved up into 7th spot. And, of course, as a championship contender, he's looking for that top 5 finish.
What'd you say happened to Sprague? His brain slipped into neutral?
I didn't say that.
Well, no,
he said stupidity was the reason that he hit the wall.
Same thing.
He lost his concentration. He cut a very fast lap, came across start finish, pretty well shut the thing down, was going to get up and out of the way, and went off into third 1, still running a good 100 mile an hour, and the thing just jumped out from under. His crew was not happy with the pilot as a result of that particular incident. 11th and 12th now, continuing to watch Refner, pursued by
Mark Gibson. And Mark Gibson goes by Bliss, and something's off the pace.
Yeah, he goes way down.
Yep. I would imagine he's broken a transmission.
An eventful day for Mike Bliss. Not a great qualifying run. A good charge into the top 10. Then a spray. He's fishing around for one.
He's looking down at the transmission, which means that he's talking to... He's got gloves. Uh-oh, I guess it's ignition. He's switching ignition boxes.
There you go.
Yeah. He keeps switching the boxes, but nothing's working.
I don't think he's found the right combination of switches. I'm not sure there's one in there that's going to work. Ain't fiddling with it, but it's rattling and clattering, and it sounds like Bliss's day may be done.
As hot as it is, those boxes, they get awfully hot. And as hot as it is out there, both of them might have failed. That happened to Jeff Gordon up at Loudon, New Hampshire. Both boxes failed and had to make a pit stop to change one.
Bliss surrendering 14th position and going to the pits in hopes that they can find a problem and resolve it, but looks like that might be a long shot. We jump back up front and find no change among the leaders. Hornaday maintaining that interval over the second place hard-charging Jeff Bodine, about a 5-truck length interval back, as we will take a commercial break and come back with more. Hornaday, top dog thus far, and Watkins Glen past halfway. Stay with us. Watkins Glen International Raceway, Watkins Glen, New York. Built back in 1956. It's never seen a sight quite like this. Pickup trucks from the Nascar Craftsman Truck Series come here to go road racing. Hornaday, second ranked in the series standings, leads the race. Mike Skinner, the black number 3, the series leader, and struggled a bit after leading early and now sits in 4th. Sandwiched in between the boys from Bristol, who flew in after last night's Winston Cup race. Jeff Bodine from 21st qualifying spot to 2nd on the road. And Joe Nemechek, who's come from dead last.
Oh, Sprague got out of shape getting in the inner loop, goes through the grass. I don't know if he had a problem or what exactly, but looks like he might have lost positions.
Concentration. We talked about it earlier. Long race, a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, and that's costly for Sprague.
Well, Bickle's in front of him. I'm not sure exactly who was in front when he came by a moment ago, but right now it is Rich Bickle, the Dodge, the Cummins Dodge. There's Sprague, who made the excursion through the grass, and there we see Rutman has closed up on the back bumper of Sprague.
Rutman had run as high as 5th early. Sprague losing a position in that little excursion through the chicane. He had actually moved in front of Bickle at one point and now has given that spot back, so they end up with a net no change. Jack Sprague is running in the same position he was earlier, as he sits there in 7th spot.
Truck owned by Rick Hendrick out of Charlotte from Quaker State Truck. Quaker State is an associate sponsor on the cars, the 3 Winston Cup cars that he owns, and the primary sponsor on this truck.
I asked Jack yesterday, to be honest, interrupting him while he was working real hard to fix that truck. I think he was feeling a little guilty after he hit the fence. I asked him about the experience of the 2 guys he's battling for the championship. The fact that Hornaday and Skinner had both been through that. He gave me kind of a dirty look and said, I've won lots of championships too. I don't think that's going to be a problem. He sounded like a very confident boy.
Well, good.
Yeah, that's what it takes. You got to believe you can do it before you can do it.
Now some traffic coming into play. That's 31. Breback, thank you. I knew who that is. And there we see Lance Norrick back on the racetrack, but in front of our leader, the 16 car. And we've got a report from Marty Reed. Marty?
Yeah, Barry Dodson's given us an education down here. He's invited the camera over the wall, which technically we're not supposed to do, but they are working on a broken valve. And you're getting about as close up a view as the crew is. In fact, there's 5 of these guys crammed in there with our camera, thrashing away, trying to get Mike Bliss back out here. He's still sitting in the truck, helmet off, trying to keep cool, but they're working feverishly.
They're going to take the rockers arms off of that cylinder, and he'd get back out and just run on the 7 cylinders.
You can flip the ignition switches all day and not fix that problem. Perhaps a little RPM over-revving maybe the culprit there for Mike Bliss. The critical element is getting back on the racetrack and accumulating whatever points you have, because he is 5th in the series standings and has come from way back after 2 bad races at the start of the season. So Bliss needs to get those points.
Looks like Hornaday really gets off that inner loop and through turn 9 very well. Jeff Bodine. Now we look back from Brian Reffner's vehicle through the inner loop. This is turn 9.
These guys behind him have been having a bit of a scrap, and the guy worth watching is Rob Rizzo. He's been off the road a couple of times. Despite that, Rizzo is currently shown in 12th spot. You've got to be pretty impressed with that. Running 12th and chasing the likes of Reffner, who is the Cintas Rookie of the Year leader in the division. And his 22-year-old kid Rizzo has done that with 2 detours along the way. We'll take a break and be back with more. Of everything that happens in the racing world, RPM tonight. Check it out on Sunday nights with Kenny Mayne at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock out on the left coast. And of course, weeknights, John Curtin has all the scoop for you at 7 o'clock Eastern time, featuring among other things.
And I'll be back in Charlotte
Parsons
tomorrow night to be on RPM tonight.
We have something to say about Bristol, I'll bet.
I bet. And also Watkins Glen.
Here's your top 4 going by, and then the gap back to the 5th place truck. And what's this with Resendiz? The QVC machine has slowed.
Has he got a flat tire?
Squirming around a lot.
He really is squirming around. Is that left front flat? No, guess not.
I don't think so. Resendiz had been running 4th for most of the race. Yeah, it looks like it's got air in all 4 tires. There goes Hensley by. And it looks like it might be a terminal problem. Let's find out more from Marty.
Well, we just talked to the crew, and they're saying they think something let go in the rear end.
Oh, man, did it ever. Look at that right rear tire hopping around, Marty. Oh, you can't see it, though, can you? I'm sorry, but Dave can see it.
Hey, I'm good down here, buddy, but I can't see that far.
Well, that's one of the vulnerable areas when you go road racing. You got a lot of gear banging to do, and apparently it's taking a toll here for Resendiz. We are, by the way, in the window for the second of the competition cautions that was scheduled to fly somewhere between 45 and 50. Give them the opportunity to get enough fuel in the trucks to go to the finish.
There we see Resendiz go straight in the inner loop, which I don't think anybody's going to penalize him for that because he is slow. Meanwhile, here we go. I mean, it is getting tight up front.
Bodine closes it up on Hornaday. They will give Resendiz a stop and go for that, but it's pretty much irrelevant at this point. Nemechek slipping and sliding around. Looks like he's got his hoof down and trying to run down the leader here. As they head for that competition yellow, this would be a real good time to move up past the leader, wouldn't it, man?
He has definitely got his right rear hoof down.
All right, they continue to circulate. Skinner, who led much of the first segment of the race, has now become sort of the forgotten man. The Black 3 sitting back there in 4th spot has not demonstrated a lot of ability to run down the trio up front. And there's Nemechek slipping and sliding a bit off the exit of the inner loop as well. Skinner led the first 20 laps for the record, and Hornaday has led all of them since.
It's definitely a 4-truck race. There we see Resendiz has made it to the pits, and they'll look at the rear and see what happened.
And we jump right back up front with the leaders. The lappers in front of them gets off the dirt, gets up a little cloud for him to run through and provide some excitement.
And Mark Gibson and Hornaday dives to the inside. Where's Bodine? Bodine is going to dive to the inside.
Never need to check. Don't get pinched there. Mark knows they're there.
Yes, he does. And what has happened to Bodine? Maybe he just got off. Maybe he had a bad exit off turn 11 because he lost about a couple of tractor trailer car lengths to the leader of the race, Hornaday. See the distance?
That's a gap, isn't it? He's racing Nemechek now instead of racing the leader.
Maybe he saw his other truck sit in the pits and called the radio to find out what happened to that other truck. Was so concerned about Resendiz that he forgot what he was doing. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, he was quoted talking with Resendiz about one of the most difficult things about racing at this track, and he said, maintain your concentration. It's a hard thing about road racing. You've always got to be ready for that next apex, that next break marker. Well, it was 4 trucks. Now it's 1 and 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hornaday's loving this. We're told the competition caution will now most likely fall on lap 50 unless there is another problem, and that's a caution should fall. Obviously, if they need a caution anyway, then that can serve as the competition caution. Now here's Rick Corelli going to pit road.
Well, he has changed the tire. He has a new left rear tire on his truck, and he's going back on the racetrack, so evidently had a flat.
Corelli had an earlier problem and fallen well off the pace. Resendiz has gone back out with what I would assume is probably a temporary fix.
I would think so, and he is a lap down. I would guess he's trying to run another lap, and Butch Miller goes by smoking in the Ribestas truck. See all the smoke out of the back of Resendiz?
All those guys drop out.
Miller?
Yeah, if all those guys drop out, then that's one of those is a position for Resendiz, who's currently 4th in the championship standings, a long way back from the top 3, but every point counts, and at the end of the year, every point is worth dollars.
Well, they're trying to, right now, they probably didn't have in the pits what they needed to fix the truck, if they even can fix it. So he goes out and maybe runs to this caution flag, and they can work on it some more. Marty Reed, do they know what's wrong with the truck?
Yeah, Benny, they're talking about a rear shock mount that has broken, and they said by the time it would take him to fix it, he's going to lose too many laps anyway, so they're just going to send him out and try and get as many laps in as they can.
The yellow is out. The competition yellow flies at Watkins Glen, the 4th caution of the day, as the field will move around, get replenished for the final run to the checkered flag. And this will be a critical stop for those who would like to do something with Ron Hornaday. This may very well be their last opportunity to put the fine edge on the truck that they need to go after the leader. We'll take a break and be right back. Finger Lakes region of New York, wine growing country just up over the ridge, one of the series of lakes, Seneca Lake, and Watkins Glen International Raceway located right at the foot of the lake. Been racing here since just after World War II, and all the legendary names of international road racing have come here. Now today, for the first time ever, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series comes, and Ron Hornaday is the most significant name at the moment because he is at the top of the heap, as he has been since lap 21. Find your favorite driver in there. I'm going to take a moment to talk about number 27, Rob Rizzo. Twice off the road and still inside the top 10. Rob Rizzo is the 9th place truck out there, and he's only 22 years old. I wouldn't mind buying some stock in that kid's company. He's going forward.
It looks that way right now. The trucks are entering pit road. Now, you set this up right just a moment ago. The changes they make right now will determine who wins, who loses. There we see Marty Reed.
And we're down here as Jeff Bodine brings it in. They're checking air pressures on the tire, and I'm not so sure. They might not get a penalty here. They were checking the tire pressure with the one crew member already over the wall. I'll check and keep an eye on that, but since this is a competition yellow and nobody was coming in a fast pace, that might be a little bit different. Tires coming off look pretty good on the left side, so no extraneous wear for the 07 of Jeff Bodine. He's taking a fresh, cool drink of water, and I'm also noticing that they're making no other changes as far as putting any wedge into the truck. It looks like it's all going to be done with tire pressures. Guys, what do you see up there?
Looks like they're adjusting the air pressure in the right front of the 16 truck. I think they changed the left sides on Ron Hornaday, the leader's truck. And I would guess they're letting the air out of that right front, hoping it will get a better grip.
That's really the new science that radial tires have brought. Change the chassis with air pressure.
And the reason for this yellow is because they didn't feel like these vehicles, these trucks could run the entire distance without some gasoline. So that's why they're having the competition yellow, to allow the teams to come in, put some gas in, and get back on the racetrack and go again.
When we come to the restart, it will be single file. We're inside the last 10 laps of the race, and that means by truck rules that the lead trucks, the lead lap trucks, go to the head of the line. The lappers fall in behind to ensure that the fast guys get to settle it on a clear racetrack. So they will line back up in the order they were running when the competition caution flew, and it will be single file with the leaders all nose to tail when we go green for what may be the final time here today. It really has been a remarkably clean race, Benny. We've had a couple of off-track excursions, but nothing of any great significance. Monty Klein probably had the hardest hit, and this guy says, yeah, it's pretty dull out here. He's having a nap.
Well, somebody wake him up, because this thing's about... I can't believe he's going to sleep through this thing.
I don't think he is. He just knows that camera's watching. He says, watch this, I'm going to play dead with him. We're going to take a break and come back with more. I guarantee you we'll wake you up for the finish. Welcome back to Watkins Glen, New York, the Parts America 150 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. What may be the final round of pit stops, almost certainly will be the final round of pit stops complete. Here's Marty with an update.
All right, I've got the update on all of our top 4. In the number 16, Ron Hornaday, all they did was change left side rubber, and they made a little adjustment in the air pressure. As far as the 07, Jeff Bodine, right before they pulled out, they did put a 1 full turn of wedge on the left side. Then in our 3rd place truck, the number 87, well, Joe, basically they lowered tire air pressure and changed left side rubber, and the biggest change was in the number 3. As we mentioned, Skinner was complaining about it being very tight. They changed left side rubber as well, but put a couple of bumps right in the rear to stiffen it up, and we're green.
With 9 to go, back underway. to decide it all here in the Parts America 150. To answer the question, can anybody do anything with Ron Hornaday? Good clean restart. Lead lap trucks out front. Lap trucks falling in behind. Through the second of the right-handers, turn 2, and then up the hill through the S's, and Hornaday flat getting.
He does get it done for 4 or 5 laps. He just seems to be so superior, and then it looks like that Jeff Bodine starts coming on. But in those 4 or 5 laps, if Nemechek or Skinner or both can get by, maybe they can give Hornaday a run for his money.
Look how tight they all are from second on back, and look at the gap that Hornaday has opened in less than a lap. Note Sprague is up to 5th now with the retirement of Rezendi. 6th is Pickle. Petty Dodge. 7th is Joe Ruttman. And 8th is this new kid, Rob Rizzo. Boy, he's got a chance to be a hero here.
And Joe Nemechek right on the back bumper. He's looking, trying to get by that 07 of Jeff Bodine.
What a run from 31st to 3rd. And now Nemechek trying to put the frosting on the cake here. Trying to get around Bodine and go up and take a shot.
Skinner's trying to take a look on the inside of him. That did not work.
Into turn 1. Again, the superiority of Hornaday. Pretty obvious. The rest of the field truck it on through as Hornaday heads up through the S's, counting them down. I got a feeling we'll see something from Skinner here in the next couple of laps. If he's got it, I guarantee you we'll see.
You'll see it if he's got it. You're right.
If he doesn't have it, he'll probably make the attempt anyway. Here he goes, looking to the inside on Nemechek. And wisely gets back in line, but he's putting pressure on him.
He sure is.
Joe's been slipping and sliding through that section of the racetrack all day long, but hadn't put a wheel wrong yet. He pursues Bodine, Skinner in turn, chasing Nemechek. Those 3 break it away a little bit from what has been a race-long Sprague and Bickle battle. And Hornaday just contemplates it all in his mirror, which is exactly where you want to be watching a race like this. Behind you.
Nemechek looked like he wanted to make that pass on the outside of Bodine, just like he did on the outside of Skinner. Now he might have a run on Bodine. Here he comes. Does he or doesn't he?
It'll be a braking battle. Joe said, I'm not willing to break her quite that hard.
Wow.
Bodine did a good job there. Kept his cool. Again, race the racetrack. You know where your break point is. Run her in, break it down, get your shifting done, hit the apex. Let the guy behind you figure out what he's going to do.
And once again, Skinner got a run on Nemechek. And he, what happened? Is Bodine slowing down? I guess he's not.
Camera angle there, yeah, it scared me for a minute too. I thought something was happening there. These 3 guys are just looking for the opportunity to provide us with a thrill here. Bodine trying to hold off Nemechek, trying to hold off Skinner. And if any of the 3 of them have a major bobble, Sprague and Bickle are right there to try to collect the advantage. Meanwhile, Hornaday just keeps pulling away. Boy, they've hit that thing right all day.
Look at Skinner. He's going to try it down in the left-hander. No, can't do it.
He's following racing rule number 1. Go where they ain't.
Exactly. But on a road course, you can fake down to the inside. But before you get that corner, you need to get back out and get into these corners wide. Because if you get so shallow, you're going to lose several car lengths.
You want to use all of the road, make the corner as gradual as possible, keep as much speed as possible, because the exit off the corner gives you speed on which you collect interest all the way back down the road. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th. And that is Ruttman, Rizzo, and Hensley going at it for the last 3 spots in the top 10. Walker Evans has a pretty good view of this as he currently rides in the 10th spot, hoping for his best finish ever as they head up the hill.
Oh, look here. Out. Man, we've got him everywhere. But Nemechek looks like he has position. No.
That angle is deceiving when they come at you head on. It looks like they're dead side by side. Nemechek squeezed it as hard as he could, but Bodine again held his ground through the McDonald's inner loop and hangs on to 2nd spot. Joe slides her off the corner. Skinner tries to figure out a way to take advantage of that. Nobody goes anywhere. Skinner in the black 3, looking. Sprague has caught him. T.J. Clark is off the road. Apparently no harm done. Should not bring a caution.
Looks like that's up in the carousel. And Joe Nemechek up on the curb. Now Skinner's trying to get on the inside. Looks like, again, the angle is hard to tell, but
I tell you, Nemechek dodged the bullet there. And look at Sprague crawl all over the rear deck of the 3 truck of Skinner. When Nemechek got sideways coming off that last corner onto the straightaway, it kills the momentum in the truck. Skinner thought he had the opportunity, but Joe outbraked him or outbraved him or whatever it took when they got to turn 1 and held on to the spot. Good racing here. It's unfamiliar turf for the truckers, but they're doing a great job of adapting to the right-left combinations, the gear shifting and everything else that goes with road racing success. But nobody, and I mean nobody, has mastered it like the guy who was 2 seconds a lap off the pace here on Friday. And that's this guy right here. Hornaday's just doing a heck of a job.
he is doing a heck of a job. And meanwhile, he's the leader of the race. The blue Napa truck, Ron Hornaday, they're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And they're concentrating on each other so hard, and as they have to, that they're letting Hornaday get away. Now then, Skinner, and see what happened to Nemechek? He is concentrating so hard on the Skinner truck that he's letting Jeff Bodine get away.
That was Skinner ducking out of line, taking a look around Nemechek. There's nothing there, and he gets back in line. Skinner will look you right in the eye, look right in the camera, and tell you all day, we want top 5 finishes. We want top 5 finishes. I know inside that helmet he is not a happy boy. He's running 4.
No. All these guys want to win.
Behind him, on the other hand, Sprague sitting in 5th after clobbering the turn 1 wall, trying to knock it down in practice, and then qualifying 15th. He's probably sitting there thinking, 5th ain't bad. I'll take 4th if I can get it, but 5th is not bad for this weekend.
Jeff Bodine's truck has picked up a push. He's going off these corners and the truck going out wide, especially through the fast S's. Notice that last time he about missed a corner.
And yet has opened up a little bit of a gap now on Nemechek. Let's see if Joe will close that. Oh, trouble for Bodine.
Oh, man, he's blowing. The QBC truck is going away.
Can you believe it? He continues to hold up Nemechek. Now, is Joe going to get around him? Not yet. It's still making power, but it's also making smoke, and it won't make power for long. Nemechek says, let me get around that hand grenade before things go south. Skinner goes with him to 3rd, Sprague to 4th. Bodine falls to 5th. What a heartbreaking thing to have happen anytime. But after the run he's had today and in front of the hometown crowd.
3 laps to go.
That tells the tale right there. Blue smoke for Bodine, and a bad day for the team. Resendez earlier broke a shock mount. He's just out there putting in laps, and now Bodine will try to soldier on to the finish and get whatever he can out of this. He provided us with a lot of thrills. He won't get the finish as the benefit of that.
He might as well take it on in because whatever piece broke, he's just destroying the rest of it right now.
And he's not a points guy, so there's nothing really to be gained by that, other than perhaps a little bit of pride. Now, this gets interesting because if Skinner can get around Nemechek, he can hang on to the point lead. If he doesn't get around Nemechek, then Hornaday, the race leader, is also going to go out of here with the championship lead, and those guys will continue their slugfest on to the next round of the series.
And Sprague was starting the race, I think, 53 points behind, and he is right behind Skinner, so he would continue his excellent chance to win the championship. Bickle.
We're going golfing, by the way, right after this. So you folks who have tuned in for that, it should be starting now. We have 2 laps to go here to wrap up the truck race. Then we'll be going to the Bank of Boston Classic. Those last 2 laps ought to be classic because that black 3 truck, Mike Skinner, 13 times a winner in the trucks, the all-time leader for the series, is working on Nemechek. Joe has come from dead last after that truck was the headliner here yesterday with Steve Park, the modified driver, putting it on the pole. A lot of people second-guessing Nemechek, and I confess I was one of them who said, Joe, why would you want to give up 30 positions on the racetrack? And if you watch what would happen now, I think Joe's answer would be, well, because I know I can get 29 of them back the way I twist this wheel and stomp on the gas. Doesn't look like he's going to catch Hornaday. The question is, can he hold off Skinner, the best in the truck business?
Looks like Hornaday is putting some distance on these 3 trucks. Never see the Rich Bickle. Richard Petty-owned truck is running in 5th spot now. But the battle is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Bickle did a great thing with his truck, not this particular truck, but as we come to the white flag real quick, a couple of weeks ago they had a Chrysler function. They put in a passenger seat to do VIP rides, and Darrell Gwynn, the injured drag racer, got to go to a ride with Bickle and go 150 mile an hour. Bickle said, man, there was a lot of work getting that truck ready, but it was worth it just to see the grin on Darrell Gwynn's face. Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen, and Skinner took a shot.
That last turn 1, extra place to make a pass, but he was not able to do it. Now he'll try to outbrake Nemechek in the inner loop.
Well, you got to wonder if he's being coached at this point or if they're just letting Skinner do the business. My guess is the crew is staying out of Skinner's ear. He knows what he wants to do.
He wants to get by is what he wants, but he just can't get that position. Nemechek is there.
And he's staying cool. Joe Nemechek off the inner loop for the final time. Into turn 10, the right-hander opens up about a 3-truck length interval from Skinner. Slides her off the corner. Hornaday heading for home.
And Rich Bickle, Joe Ruttman, several truck lengths behind him, so he just decided to take it easy that last lap as here Hornaday comes.
Skinner had another look at him. There was nothing there in the race for 2nd spot. Hornaday off the final turn, headed for home. His 9th career victory. He will retake the point lead in 4 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series road races. He's won 3 of them. There's the celebration from the Napa Chevy crew. And the Earnhardt clan will be happy about this one. It was the phone call to Dale that gave him the combination that enabled this truck, so slow on Friday, to come home a winner on Sunday. Never, ever quit digging. That's the lesson there, kids. Here's Nemechek up to give him a big congratulatory wave. We're going to have to hustle off to golf. We'll take a quick break and come back to wrap it up. Seen here today at Watkins Glen. Find your favorite driver. Hornaday holds off the Nemechek, Skinner, Sprague, and Bickle battle to win his 3rd career truck road race, and perhaps more significantly, to take over the championship point lead. Rob Rizzo, a great drive to 7th spot. The new kid just drove his heart out here today, but was overshadowed by the come-from-the-back drives of the likes of Bodine and Irvin, and I guess most notably Nemechek, who came from the back to finish 2nd.
17 trucks on the lead lap. Bob Keselowski, the last truck on the lead lap, and there's our winner, and Marty Reed's there.
All right, guys, we're down here with a very happy Ron Hornaday. That was probably the most important phone call you ever made, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what, it sure was. I got to thank Dale and Teresa for giving me this Napa Chevrolet. It ran so good. I'll tell you, the trick is little air pressures and stuff these guys found out about last night on that telephone. I'll tell you, I just got to dedicate this race to Sam and his family. You know, his mom passed away the other day, and Dale flew him back there. So I'll tell you, they needed that. And I just got to say hi to all the cops back there watching my house for me.
We're running out of time. You know you got the points lead?
Well, that's great. That's what we're here for, and we just going to try to keep getting these top 5s, I should say. And thank you. Goodyear came out with a great tire again.
Guys, we're going to let him get out of here and reach that adulation from the fans that are jamming around victory lane.
Hornaday takes the series point lead by 9 from Skinner as they celebrate the victory at Watkins Glen. Sprague is now 67 points behind. Over on ESPN2 at 3 o'clock, we've got the modified, so hop over there and check that out. Benny Parsons, thanks for all your help here today. Topside, stick around because we've got a great modified show coming up next. We're headed off for golf. Jim Kelly and the Bank of Boston Classic. I'm Dave Despain saying thanks for joining us at Watkins Glen, and so long from ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.